about playwriting. Hi, Mark. Here, nice to meet you. We are going to start the panel now, so if you would like to take a seat. Also for the people still waiting in the hall, everybody is welcome to join us. My name is Jibbe Willems. I'm a playwright from the Netherlands, and I was asked to moderate this panel with these three beautiful playwrights. Next to me from Romania, Gianina Carbunariu.
I'm a director of Playwright.
Director of Playwright. Mark Ravenhill, a British playwright and person.
I am a person.
A human. And Bernhard Studlar,
yes,
from Austria. And a playwright. And I wanted to talk about playwriting, how, what, why, when, who. And of course, when people want to change the subject, feel free to change the subject. I'd like to make it a bit informal, even though we've got quite a high stage here. So my first question would be, could you tell us what defines you as a playwright?
It defines me, the fact that I'm not really a playwright.
Right.
But I studied directing, and I started to write the scenarios for my own performances. And I think what defines me is the fact that I'm spending a lot of time doing research before going to the rehearsal room. And I'm still doing theater because of this, because I can breathe outside in the reality, doing research in archives or meeting people.
So it was born out of necessity. You couldn't find a playwright that wrote the plays you wanted to direct?
I've been working with other playwrights as well. But at that point, it's a long story, I'll try to make it short. We had this kind of dramaturgy before '89 that was very elusive in a way, very metaphorical, and I didn't want to speak about what I was thinking through some other people's texts, so that's why I started to
You need a more direct form to
communicate. At that point, yes, I felt like I felt more comfortable and uncomfortable in the same time.
Right. Thank you. And Mark, was it your childhood dream?
It was my childhood dream. I was one of those children who, in my bedroom, had puppets and a toy theatre and hand puppets, string puppets. I made everybody on the street give me their old clothes so I could have a box for dressing up clothes. My brother had no interest in theatre, but he was the only other person available, so I made up plays for two people. Normally I would play the lead character, my brother would have to play everybody else. So for instance, in The Sound of Music, I was Maria. My brother was all the children, the captain, and everybody else. So yeah, I never wanted to do anything else apart from make up theatre. I didn't understand as a child that there were different roles.
Right.
So I think essentially the theatre maker, and I tried all the different things, and the only one that people would really pay me to do was writing the plays.
And was it also the one that made you most happy?
No.
No?
No, the playwriting's harder,
Right.
one of the hardest ones, but it's the one that people seem to want me to do. But I mean, there's plenty of times when I am happy doing it, but also because it's very lonely, you know. It's a strange combination with the theatre, which is so sometimes you're very envious of all those people who get to spend all their time together rehearsing, and their whole life is in a group. So I'm not naturally a introvert or a lonely person, but you know, the iceberg of playwriting, the tip is when you're in the rehearsal room with the playwrights, but the rest is all loneliness, which is quite hard to deal with.
That's what makes it hard, the loneliness.
Yeah, the loneliness.
Because for me as a playwright, I started as an actor and I was afraid to go on stage every time. So for me, the exclusion and the...
was nice.
Was nice.
Yeah.
And for you, Bernhard?
as you mentioned, that you started as an actor, I remember that I once was acting in one of the plays I wrote, and it was the most horrifying experience I ever had, because it was really wow. I was so nervous to forget the lines, and but it was on the other side. It was a great experience to deal with the words that you normally, you write the text, you write characters, you think about characters, and then you have to do it. And you think like, shit, what have I written? It's not working, the rhythm is not cool,
Yes.
or whatever. So it was a very good experience, but only once in my lifetime. So yeah, so for me the writing is the better position in theater. But as Mark mentioned the term theater maker, this somehow, I would share this. Because, when you start writing a play, it's not only about writing a play, it's about, you think about what's going to happen and what will be on stage and what will all the other artists and people do with your work. For example, sound,
and yes, music, yeah. So all three of you are the words are part of it, but it's more than the words.
Yeah, I mean, if I were to define myself, I would say theatre maker. It's more comfortable for the theatres need more specific job title. So I get playwright, but I'm part of and think about the whole process of making theatre.
There's a fluidity in a profession.
Yeah.
So then what is playwriting?
No,
but we just define that there's no real playwright because it's fluid.
Well, I also think about myself as an artist working in theater,
Yes.
especially because, well, as I was saying, I'm searching through the reality. So in many cases, I bring a lot of ready-made in my performances, and then is this question of the originality, or So I'm trying to mix my own scenarios with things that I really bring, with texts even that I bring from reality.
From interviews.
From interviews, but not really, because when I'm thinking about ready-mades, I'm more thinking about documents, real documents that I bring from archives.
Right.
So, for instance, I did a performance where I didn't put any of my own words, but it was I was doing the dramaturgy out of a file from ex-Securitate archive, the secret police archive. Actually, I was doing 2 shows using this kind of method, let's say. And then I was treating the material as a theater material. I was exploring actually the limits of the theater and the limits of the document somehow.
So it's curating and playwriting.
In a way, yeah. I'm not doing this all the time, but just to say that it's very fluid, this thing. And yeah, I hate being in this kind of lonely process.
Right.
And that is why I enjoy writing my scenarios during the rehearsals.
Right.
So sometimes I go into the rehearsal room with an idea, with some documented material, and then through conversations and improvisations with the actors, I start to write, and I always have in mind the people in front of me, the actors I'm working with.
And you direct your own work.
Yes. So basically it's a different process. Like, instead of going with a play to the rehearsal, I go with the idea, and the play, it's the last thing actually that arrives at the premiere, and sometimes
Hopefully.
even after,
Right.
because I do corrections.
And do you direct your own plays, or?
No, I don't like directing my own plays. I mean, I do some directing, but I prefer it to be other things. So the next thing I'm going to direct, a little bit different, is I'm going to direct an opera. I have directed opera before, but I'm directing Richard Strauss's Salome.
Right.
So big, heavy,
Yeah, kind of chop on heads.
German art. Yeah, with a lot of violence.
But why wouldn't you direct your own works?
I find that's too close. I think as a director, my starting point is like detective work, almost like, what is this? How is this? Question, question, question. And trying to find my way into something that somebody else has written. So when I've written it, you know, to a certain extent you can go, why have I written this?
Yeah,
but I feel a little bit, I guess, too close to it. It doesn't actually excite me so much. Like, what is Richard Strauss doing when he wrote the Salome? That's like, at the moment it still seems, you know, I've got 4 or 5 more months to prepare. That still seems like it's right over there, and that's exciting. And that's like, oh, I've got months to research and think and plan and try and find some connection with this extraordinary piece that's completely alien to me, and that excites me. But to direct your own play, I'd rather somebody else came in with those questions. Like, what is this piece that you've written?
Is that because there's fresh ideas and contrasts and
Yeah.
combination of
Yeah, and they find things in your play. If they're good, they find things in your play that you didn't know were there. If they're bad, they impose things on your play. But, you know, an actor with the director can play a scene. Oh, okay. Actually, that's a better scene than I thought, because they found this thing in it.
So in a way, a play is always a co-creation, or is that
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think we love the sound of collaboration, and because it sounds so cozy and lovely.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I still think part of the role of the playwright is to actually challenge that. You've gone down the road like a couple of years before everybody else, and you've come back with this challenge. Like, can you achieve this? So yeah, there's an element of collaboration, but also there's an element, not literally in the room, but there's an element of provocation and challenge about a play. In the first place, to the director and the actors. Try this, have a go at this. See where this shouldn't feel easy. See whether you can find a way to act this,
right.
Rather than, hey guys, let's all get along. I think that can be a little bit
but co-creation doesn't have to mean friction is also co-creation.
Yeah. Although people talk as though there should be no friction, it's all organic and lovely.
Oh, no.
And so there should be friction, but there should be friction between the play that you've written and the existing form of theatre and the existing way of acting. It should be a challenge, like, think again about how you act, think again about how you direct, something about that play, rather than, just being mean in the room. It should be an exciting challenge, like, this isn't going to be easy.
Right. Do you make your own?
What we?
Do you direct your own?
No. I don't. I wouldn't like to do that. No. But I like to, see it as a challenge. If you, it's a proposal, the text, and then you see what happens. And sometimes you have the nice surprise, and sometimes you have the bad surprise, because things can happen, and can be misunderstood or something. But
what happens if you have the bad surprise?
You are sad. Yes, of course. No, but I think
angry.
No, more sad than angry, because the other people tried something and it didn't work out probably for me. But I think it also makes a difference if you write a commissioned play for a certain theatre or a group, because then it can be cozy and working, or if you write the play just for yourself and then you give it to your agent, and some people read it and decide we will do a production from this.
So that's how it works in Austria? You can write a play on your own accord and then...
it works in the whole German-speaking area. It's like working this.
Yeah, because in the Netherlands that won't work.
Yeah. No, that's helpful, sometimes. Because you don't really rely on, the contact to certain persons, because you have this agent and they try to sell the play more than once, then it's not happening very often nowadays. I think in the past it was better. So because you've written a play and then you have the first night and then you have maybe a second production in Switzerland or in Austria, and then you have one in Germany. So that was good to make a living from the writing.
Yeah, that's pretty unique to German-speaking countries, that you can have multiple premieres at the same time. I mean, some of the big playwrights were having like 10 openings over the space of a few weeks, and the critics could go and review different productions of the same play. That never happened in the UK. It was like if you were doing the theatre, the premiere of the play, a theatre always wanted the premiere, so you could never have. But still, agreeing with Bernhard there, for me personally, I would rather just write a play. There are commissions available, but there's part of me that then starts to second. The theatres don't want me to, but the part of my brain starts to think, what will they like? What will they want? So it slightly distorts what I write. So my preferred method is just to write a play.
You don't have any projection of expectations if you work autonomously.
If I work autonomously, I can just write a play. And then my agent, and then also can read it, discuss with my agent, and think, okay, I've written this play. What sort of theatre might that sit in best? Which artistic director is running which theatre? So it's led by the play.
Right.
And then when I've got to the end of the play and found out what it is, then it's, oh, this is very, this would really suit this director. So then through my agent we can send it out and to the first choice, and maybe they say yes, maybe they say no. So that would be my preferred method. I mean, you need a little bit of financial security behind you to be able to just say, I'm going to set by 6 months to write whatever play that I want to write. But the commission money isn't so amazing. But it would be amazing if you were very young and didn't have any money. It would be enough to get you through, but I've got enough savings or whatever, just to go, okay, now it's time to write a play. So I would rather just write the play.
Yes, but a playwright has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
If you're young, a commission would be...
Well, often, yes, although often the first play is an unsolicited play, so if you've never written before, I think unlikely, maybe impossible. I think people, I don't know, but I don't think people get commissioned just by saying, I fancy being a playwright, I've got an idea.
Right.
I think so often the very first play would be an unsolicited play, but then after that, theatres would start to commission. And at first that seems nice, and maybe people like that for the whole career, but after a while for me, I thought actually these commissions are slightly distorting what I really want to write. Not because they were pressuring me, but just somehow, the idea of, oh, it's going to be read by one artistic director, one literary manager, dramaturg, a bit of my brain was trying to guess what they would like, and I thought that's silly. So just write a play.
An internal
Yeah, it's
pressure.
entirely my fault.
Right.
Yeah.
And is there for you the difference between writing a commission or writing autonomously?
Not really, but I think it's always very important to ask the theatre that is giving you the commission what they really want and what they are interested in, because the worst case is that they just say, write whatever you want, and then you do a first draft and they read it and they say like, what's that? It's not like the play we have written, the last one that you've written.
Yeah.
So I think this is very important in the communication with the theatres, that you say, okay, what are topics or whatever, that you're interested in, what kind of direction should it be, and ideally they probably already know who will be the director, so you can get probably in contact with them. So this makes it different in a way, but the writing process is more or less the same. But I think the better is the earlier you start the communication with the artistic team of the theatre, the better.
That's the most common response I get when I show people a new play is, oh, I thought it was going to be like the last play that you wrote.
Because they always charge you like that.
Normally a bit disappointed, and then
Yeah.
often they're the people who pass on it because it's not like the last play you write, and then you find somebody who maybe doesn't know your last play. But so I think maybe that's the reason for playwrights to be, is that other people imagine something like the last play that you wrote, but it's often the playwright who says, oh, I did that before,
Yeah.
I'm going to do something different. And so I think that's often why it's good, it's good to give the playwright that freedom and be open to being surprised that, oh, I thought you wrote this guy. Oh, but I have that every play now. Like, oh, so always the last play has been reviewed, as opened, that fixed in your mind. Now that he writes like that, and then the next one. I've gradually started to laugh at it because it's the most common response to a new play. Oh, I thought it was going to be like the last. And it's always a different last one. But
Would you have to permit yourself that freedom and that risk?
huh?
You have to permit yourself the freedom and the risk to
Yeah.
try different things.
Yeah.
new things.
I mean, if you're not going to do freedom and risk, then there are much better jobs to do.
Definitely.
Yeah. yeah, from school I knew that I was never going to do a regular job, so freedom and risk is factored into the process, yeah.
And for you, freedom, do you have the freedom to make the things you want to make?
I try to achieve that.
Yes.
And you know, I'm not working on commission as a playwright. I mean, I tried a few times, it didn't quite work.
Why didn't it work?
I don't know, because maybe for me it's complicated to just sit in front of the computer and write something.
Right.
It's very much connected with the way I'm working. So, but I'm taking commissions as a director, and then I have my freedom because people know the way I work, and they know I need this time to prepare, to do research, and so on and so forth. And they give me a kind of carte blanche, whatever, because you start the research but with some questions, but after some time you come up with even more questions. So it's, yeah, I think in this sense I have all the freedom I like, or at least I try to fight for that, like
right.
saying no, there will not be a text in, or not all of it in the beginning of the rehearsals. And
so you need a lot of trust. You need people to work with who definitely trust you as a process.
up till now, some of them trusted.
Oh, that's
so,
good, yeah.
And in a way, connected with what you said, that the play doesn't look like the one before. In my case, as it is inspired by this research and this meeting with reality, it's always different. So the producers know that it will be different.
It will be different.
Yeah, because it's a different thing to do a performance based on documents and archives, and it's another thing to do a performance out of I don't know, research through interviews and relocation or whatever.
People will be disappointed if you wrote the same. Oh, it's a bit of the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably, yeah. But I think this gives me really this kind of freedom, and I like to take risks, because otherwise it would be quite boring to do the same thing.
Bernhard, when did you start playwriting?
By chance. No, not really, but you know, I was always thinking of being a theater maker, but more like a director, and I tried to apply many universities to start studying directing. It never worked out, and I was kind of frustrated in the early 20s. And then I found out that there in Berlin is this one University of Arts. They have this course, Szenisches Schreiben, which means playwriting. And I thought like, okay, let's try this. So, and for the application, you had to write scenes or dramatic text. So it was the first time I was writing, and I liked it. I really liked it, and they liked what I've written. So, so that's how it became a playwright. Because then I went there for 4 years and studied Szenisches Schreiben, and it was nice because we were a very small group of 7 people, spending hours and hours, like for 4 years, the 7 of us, discussing everything that we have written, and that was really intense. It was sometimes really tough because, you know, you write different styles, you have different, you know, tastes, and then but after that I felt like, okay, or even during the 4 years, I thought, now I'm a playwright. Now I know what this profession is and how it is working.
What do you think has changed in the theatre landscape since you started writing and now?
You know, nowadays I'm also running a playwrights project. You know, so I have contact with many of my colleagues. I think that if I compare it to my years at university, that there is more of activities or initiatives for playwriting, and or to support playwriting. So it becomes, in a way, it became a little bit easier to start or to find an entrance into the whole theater business. Let's call it business. But then, after the first step, then it becomes really difficult. So that's my impression of change, because I think there are more people trying to be a playwright, write plays than back then 20 years ago, or 25.
Are there also more opportunities? Is there also more demand? So is there more new repertoire being?
That's a difficult question, a new repertoire, because you know, that's what we are fighting for, you know, to change the repertoire in a way, because even though it's working on certain, let's say, smaller stages, I think the big state theaters, they still create their year by year productions by the same names. And I was talking recently about, you know, a quota for contemporary playwriting for the state theaters, because it really maybe change something to really ask them to at least stage 25% contemporary plays, also on the bigger stage. Because normally they put you in this 99 seat studios, or even less seats, and then you will have one production, and then that's it.
And what would be the objection to this quota?
What do you mean?
Why wouldn't they do that? 25%?
I think they are lazy.
Lazy.
And also in writing, in reading. Yeah, I think they are lazy in reading. They don't read because, okay, they know the Chekhovs and they know Kleist and Goethe and Shakespeare and blah blah. All very good and interesting plays. And they don't find, maybe also sometimes don't have the time to read, you know. So that's, yeah.
So if you're saying it's a business, should the playwrights be better in marketing their business?
Ask the agents.
Ask the agents, oh yeah, all right.
No, but yeah. They
They
could be better, I mean, we could do better, yeah.
Yeah, well, in the Netherlands, there's not a lot of playwrights that work with agents, so that's a different way of.
So you do it yourself?
Yeah, most of the
Okay.
time.
Are you good?
Well, I'm here.
Yeah. Okay.
And what has changed in the UK since you started?
I mean, I think very similar to what Bernhard is talking about is that, yes, when I was at university in the very late 80s, there weren't any playwriting programs at all. It was seen at that stage as a very American thing. And I think the idea that playwriting would be within a university context was considered a bit ridiculous. There's a British idea of the amateur gentleman, that nothing should be professionalised, that we're gentlemen, aristocrats. And then gradually some playwriting programs are introduced, even after, and now there's everybody, because in that period as well, the whole university, higher education system became a business as well. I didn't have to pay to go to university, and I had a living grant as well, but now it's a business. So they're very popular, so everybody spins off as many playwriting courses as they can within the university sector, and then every theatre feels really good if they can say they've got a programme for young playwrights. So there is, since I was at university, there's like, 1,000% increase in any opportunities for training, learning, introductions to playwriting. Even since my first play was produced, the number of playwrights in the late 90s, 10 years after university, the number of young playwrights programme, the programmes in universities grow. There are more productions of new plays than there were when I started, and some on bigger stages, quite often on bigger stages as well. But the number of increase in productions of new plays no way matches the proliferation of all the introduction to playwriting, young playwrights. So although there has been say there's like 25% more new plays produced on bigger stages as well, there's like a 3,000% increase in and who knows? I mean, the ideal is always and the thing that gets you the funding is accessibility and outreach. At which point it becomes cruel, immoral, unrealistic to say that everybody can be a playwright.
Right.
I don't know. So we still like to think the door is open. There's going to be some scheme available for everybody if they really want to have an introduction to playwriting. Is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. Sometimes if you're involved in those, it feels almost cruel.
So what would your advice be for playwrights making the step from starting to mid-career? How to cross that gap?
Yeah, and very, very few do. and that's always been the pattern in the UK, that the majority of playwriting careers, and this isn't new, are very short. It's comparable to an athlete's life.
Right.
So 1, 2, first play often like very well received, second play almost as well received, third play end of the career. So that's 90% of anybody who even becomes a produced playwright. So there's only a handful of people. So you just have to keep up. So if you've been one of the lucky few to actually get to the position of being a produced playwright, as I was, you then just have to, for yourself, you have to keep on challenging yourself. You have to keep on going. That was just the start. I need to keep on expanding, learning, challenging myself, finding new things about playwriting to sustain myself, and you need to keep your foot in the door that they're constantly trying to shut, and just say, I'm not taking my foot out.
So you have to.
I saw a young playwright said to me, oh, what do you do? How do you keep in the theatre? I said, you put on a big pair of heels and you just wedge your foot in the door, and they say, we've done a couple of your plays, fuck off, and you just kick them and go, no, I am not going anywhere.
So you need luck.
You just have to be
experiment,
be tough
and
bitch.
resilience.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what has changed? When you said you started in '89.
No, I didn't. The Romanian system.
No, that's
But
my.
thank you, it's okay.
Right. Very young player.
So what changed? 2001, I, together with some colleagues, we started to do a project to develop Romanian new drama, because at that point we were in a moment where the repertoire of the theaters was 100% classics.
Right.
So in a way we felt like changing that, and we did this. And I think at this moment things changed a lot. Like we do have a lot of new writing programs, and very important, for instance, we didn't have this kind of education in school, like playwriting department. And I'm the first generation who studied, I studied a master in playwriting, in creative writing, playwriting. So, and that was because few playwrights, my generation and younger, have been to Royal Court, and we had this experience, which for me was very valuable. Of course, I took the things that I liked and didn't take the ones that didn't interest me. But all in all, it was a good experience for this generation. And then when we went into theaters, we tried to develop this kind of programs. So at this point, I would say that state theaters are taking the risk to produce new playwrights, very young sometimes. There are a lot of contests. And I would say, if you would ask me what is my advice,
Yes, definitely.
I think it's good to find your team. I'm speaking now about the Romanian system, which works differently than the British and the German, Austrian. To find your place in a team, to find directors and actors, to find teams, because you can test your words that you are dreaming, you're testing it on stage, and you can, I don't know, develop on a longer term. For me, at least this worked to stay together with friends, with colleagues, and yeah, because it's quite, I don't know, even if there are these new writing programs, as you said, first play yes, but then you get lost through this world of different expectations.
Yes, of course.
But while you build something on a longer term, I think it can keep you, yeah, going somehow. But what about you? Because you are also a playwright.
Yeah.
How is it for you?
I was going to ask the audience if they had some questions. How is what for me?
How is it for you to be a playwright in the Netherlands?
Well, the Netherlands, you don't have an agent. You work. The Netherlands is a director-driven theater field, so the director is always the one who is deciding what they to do. And most artistic directors are directors themselves as well. So my aim is to get close to directors. And
No, it's the same like
so
Romania.
it's like, yeah.
So we are this part.
Yeah, and then for me, the difference between autonomous work and work in commission is a bit, it's fluid as well, because I can only accept the work in commission if I can make it autonomous, or can make it for myself. But there's no real tradition of making an autonomous work and then try to sell it to the theatre, because they always say, okay, I liked it, so let's work together. So if you write a play and you want to make it, you want to have it staged, either you have to stage it yourself, or you have to forget it. Or you have to pretend you haven't written it yet. So you say, I have this idea, and then, so it's kind of...
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah. So for the tips for the playwrights are resilience, finding your team, finding your people. Do you have a tip for the advice for the playwright, for one team to be a playwright?
Don't do it. No. Maybe it's also a question of patience sometimes,
Right.
because it's a long process, and maybe sometimes the first play is not really well received, but then maybe it's about this having the patience that or it takes a long time that somebody is staging this first play, because you don't win a prize in the first year and you don't make anything in the second year, but then keep going and then send it again to some theater makers, because if it's a good play, it will be staged sometime. Yeah, I believe that. If it's well done, if it's a good play, it has a chance to age well.
Right.
Yeah. So I think it would be. But
about the power of the quality of work itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel that, which is an optimistic thing, I think, but I feel that within the British theatre landscape, if somebody's really written a really, really good play, it will find a home. There is, it might take a few years being passed around this, but I've read thousands and thousands and thousands of unsolicited scripts for theatres and prizes. I've never read a really good play that hasn't eventually found a good production. So I think that's, so although there's many flaws in that system and loss of money in places, I still feel like I'm very lucky, because within that system, it would be impossible to write a really brilliant play and for it not to find a production.
I would also have an advice. I don't know advice, but I have this thought that besides producing and being resilient, I think we live now in a world with a lot of stories, with a lot of images. So what's the purpose of bringing a new story or bringing a new image in this, this world where it's already an inflation of this? So I'm thinking that it's a moment when you can, as a playwright, you can put questions about the mechanisms that produce the stories. And I think that's important today, and I think we need it as societies. For me, that would be my expectation from playwrights today.
Questioning the narratives.
Yeah, questioning these narratives, because we have so many stories. But I think what we need is to find nuance, to invent new stories that would somehow make up. Keep this world in balance somehow, because we are flooded by stories and narratives that are so dangerous and crazy.
Are there any questions from the audience? Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Mos from Athens, Greece. I would like to ask you. I'm trying to be loud.
Very clear. We can hear you.
No, but it's for the recording.
All right.
Okay. I'm Mos from Athens, Greece, and I would like to ask you. Sometimes a play is considered to be an excuse to make a show. It's not a show by itself. It's rather literature. So a director takes it from the bookshelf and becomes the show. And sometimes playwrights go to the production of their play, their own play, and they don't recognize it from the cuts or additions that the director put in the play, or other things that it happens quite often, and it happens quite often to have fights between playwrights and directors. I remember Beckett, for instance, all the time he was in the court with the directors. What do you think about it?
Well, in the first place, with the cuts and additions question, that just isn't possible within the UK. So the playwrights quite a while ago in the 70s formed a playwrights union, and that gave the playwrights a lot more power. So there's absolutely no possibility of cuts and additions without working with the playwright on those, and the playwright has the right to attend every single rehearsal. So there are no cuts and additions, unless it's part of the rehearsal process with the playwright present. So that's not something that I would experience. And then once the play's gone out into the world, once you've had your first production, people can do pretty much what I feel. I mean, my agent and agents around the world wouldn't feel that. They're still keeping an eye that your play is being done, that you've written. But plays do have their own life. In terms of actual productions of the plays, I have, the vast majority of the time, I've been very lucky to have plays translated and see them in lots of different countries. The overwhelming majority of the time, I feel like the actors and the directors have done the best that they can with their skills to realise the intention of the play. I don't feel like they've gone, well, we've got this text, but we're going to create our own show. You know, it's taken all sorts of different forms, but the intentions have, I feel like 99% of the time have been honourable in that extent. Sometimes the scale is lacking, or sometimes it's just, it's a different theatre, traditions, different ways, different aesthetics. In fact, only once did I see such a perversely bizarre production of one of my plays in a country, not a million miles from here, but not in this country, that I just thought, okay, well, it was just perversely just creating another thing while the actors said my text. I just thought, okay, I guess maybe you're on the staff as a director. The artistic director said, oh, you didn't really want to direct my play. So he said, well, I'll get him to say his text while, you know, I do the crazy stuff that they copy from German theatre, have people wandering around naked and bears and, you know, bare heads and, you know, all the cliches of the sort of reggitiata copied in another country. And I thought, okay, well, even that, I was quite forgiving. I thought, oh, that poor director just hated my play and thought, I'll just have fun. And then, bugger me, as we say in English, he applied for the rights next year to do another one of my plays. So I said, you know, I just said, let's just say the rights aren't. So he seemed like he did it, but that's literally out of seeing certainly tens, maybe hundreds of productions of my plays in other languages. I've only felt once that somebody just had no interest in trying to connect with the play. So my experience on the whole, in their own way.
So there's a difference between the first
people are honourable.
Production.
between the first
Certainly in the UK we're very involved, and that's, I guess, yeah, we're very involved in the first production because there will be a very definitive first production. Maybe, you know, unlike the possibility in Germany there being, which is a great possibility in Germany, there could be opening within a couple of weeks 3 very different interpretations of the play. There's always going to be like the definitive open first production, so I'm always there for entire rehearsal process. And yeah, that's standard in the theatre. The first staging is a sort of collaboration between the playwright and the director.
Yeah, so either you have a contract and a good agent that takes care, either you just, I don't know, accept the thing that the play is there. And I remember the most painful experience was when I was very young and I went to Germany and saw one of my first productions there, and half of the play was mine, half of the text was mine and half was Brecht. It was like, okay, but I could say yes, it's a good company, but I was not asked, so I was quite furious, more furious than sad. But then I saw many of my plays produced also abroad, and I understood that every time a play is produced, it gets the local color somehow. Because if a director and the team takes it, it's because they want to say something about themselves, not about only you and your reality. So I respect this, and in this sense, I'm always available to answer questions to the directors, but I never say don't do that or now I'm fine. They can even put bracket. I'm fine with that. If it makes a meaning for this show. While I'm working, and that's why I feel very comfortable with my position, director playwright, I can do any cuts I want. And I even sometimes fight with the actors who are like, no, but I like this line. I'm like, if I cut it and it's not blood on me, it's not on you as well. So let's just do it this way.
And you sometimes fight with the playwright and director, with your same view.
Yeah, but I think we kind of get along at this point. We manage.
I agree. I have the opening night, the first production. You have to communicate and you have to be consulted when there are changes. And for the rest, I have all my plays on my website. Everybody can for free download my plays and use them. And it's because I believe in sampling and I believe in visibility and accessibility. And if people want to use my work, it's about credits. You can say written by, or we use text by, or some things like that. So I don't mind how they use it if they're transparent in the way they use it. Sorry, you have any questions?
I'm Sasha, member of Estonia, North Macedonia. So there's despite all the things of theatre, I'm doing publishing, mostly plays in Macedonia. So there is one question, and it's an intimate struggle myself, making books with plays. I want to hear your opinion about is a play literary genre first, and the draft for the show in the second place, or reverse? I think that is a question of who is the first, hen or egg. But what inspired me for these 4 or 5 years to publish the plays from the playwrights around, and mostly Macedonians. What do you think, is it most necessary to give to the directors of the production your book with the play, or the draft but designed only for making a show with all that, you know how it is looking like? I'm asking that because there is a lot of, the 20th century around, there is a lot of plays that have been lost in the shelves and drawers of the manager's tables. I mean, a year after the death of the Harold Pinter, Antonio Fraser has found his short plays, 2 pages, not have been ever published or asked or offered somewhere. There is in Macedonia some of the plays that have been lost in the theatre drawers and shelves. Serbia also, a lot of them. Croatia also, a lot of them. I just want to hear your opinion. My intimate struggle is to have a book first, because having a book first with the plays, you'll have another range of the customers, not only the audience. Thank you.
I think digital availability can prevent plays from getting lost.
Yeah.
So to have them
They could be lost. They never be published.
No, but if you have them digital and digital accessible,
Yes, it is.
then
Yes, it is an option, but the book is a book.
But you talk about printed books. You talk about printed books. I think it would be, from my perspective, it's a nice to have. you know, nowadays to have a printed book of your play, and of course it's literature, so I don't question for sure. But I think it's more important to give your play as a draft to the theater makers, and then the book would be the nice to have. You know, I do this myself with this Playwrights project. We publish the new plays every year to save them in a way, and to give the playwrights, my colleagues, like this small edition, and they have something.
That's something that was offered, for example, to some famous playwrights in Macedonia, for example, for let's publish it. They said no, let's first to the stage, then to be published. That's why I'm asking that question.
I think, and I think all of our countries probably have a slightly different relationship. The relationship of the publisher to the agent, to the theatre, to the writer. So in the UK, every single play that is produced is published. I think something must have happened with the technology of publishing around about the right time, in the late 80s, that it became very cheap to publish plays. I think, and then it got even quicker once plays were, on a computer. The playwright can just send it to the publisher, gets converted to digitally to typeface. So you have to fight not to have a play published. When you've got a play opening night, it's going to be published alongside the opening night of the play. And I think the publishers realise you can sell a few hundred copies during the run of the play, and that more or less pays for the costs of that, and then going forward, it pays for itself. So there's no relationship between agent and publisher. They're totally separate things, entities in the UK, whereas there's a much closer link in Germany between agent and publisher. But by now, for the last 30, 40 years, every single play produced in the UK, even in a 50-seat theatre, has been published by one of three publishers. They're read by people as sort of programs to go alongside the play, and then they've got a second life, often with students.
And on a more philosophical level, I think a play is as well an autonomous literary work as a proposal for a performance. Just like water is ice and snow at the same time, or God is the Son, the Holy Spirit, and so a play has different meanings in the same time. So for me, the question, is it an autonomous literary genre or work, or a draft for the director, is both true.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a playwright, young, that's saying, let's publish it. Maybe the managers will more respect than to give them, than to give them the papers.
Right.
Just, taking some sort of shape, not just for reading. Let's make it a book, they will respect more.
Right.
That's to be shaped like a book. Thank you.
Well, it depends, if I
Sure, of course.
Because it's funny, in Romania we had a contest for best play of the year, and it was awarded in a big gala, and the play was published, never produced. It's like a curse. Don't be published by that. So it really depends on the culture somehow. For me, the fact that I was published, for instance, by Oberon Books, when I was stage it really helped the play to get. So I think you are doing a good job trying to spread this information and this place. I think it's in principle it's a good thing. And I think it's literature. For instance, I love reading plays.
Yes.
Really.
Yes, I have published Romanian drama in Macedonian language.
Okay.
Yes, I made an anthology and still struggling for some of that plays to be staged.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we are almost to finish up. Is there a view to the future? Can you tell me what is the future of playwriting, or what should we do as playwrights for the future?
Meet like we do now, and exchange information and ideas, and I don't know, maybe solutions that could apply in different contexts. Yeah. For now.
Do you have?
Write plays that people want to go and see. Write for large audiences.
Yeah, that's good. I never stopped writing.
Never
I
stopped
mean,
writing.
yeah.
That's a good. Never stop writing. Thank you very much.
Because we have the photograph here. Thank you.
Sorry, just 2 more minutes, please.
Oh, did you?
We're going to Ferdonia's house, and it's a 25 minutes walk, but a walk across the old city. So my question is, do we get a bus, or do we walk all together? We still can have one bus and a group to walk. So if there is somebody who prefers to go by the bus, shall we get the bus? One bus here at 2, and one group is going to be led by Bashkim Duda, a local, who is also going to explain the city.